The cool kid. You know, when I was growing up, I remember being in middle school. There was always like at least one kid, right, that was super cool. Just seemed like he knew how to dress, seemed like he knew how to handle himself around the girls, seemed like he knew how to talk. He was usually good at sports, pretty smart. Just a cool kid. Just everything about this kid was cool. You know, kids always wanted to hang around him. Everybody wanted to be his friend. And I remember that, you know, I used to notice that more specifically in middle school. And yesterday when I picked up my son from school, from middle school, Jaden, we usually sit in the car. As we're getting ready to leave, we usually sit in the car. I tell him, don't get on your phone. And I say, you know, how was your day? What did you learn today? What were you working on? Etc. And we talk a little bit. Well, while I was doing this, there was a kid trying to get Jaden's attention on the passenger side. And he was standing in the dirt, and everybody was walking, going home. And I go, Jaden, this kid's trying to say hi to you. And Jaden goes, oh, what's up? He goes, what's up, Jay? He goes, saying what's up, man. I'll see you tomorrow. Something along those lines, right? And then he goes, all right. And I just smiled. You know, I just always think it's cool when kids go out of their way to say goodbye to my kids or say hello to them. And as this kid's walking, he turns back around, he looks at me and he goes, hey, sir. He goes, you have a pretty cool kid. And I go, is that right? And he goes, yeah, he's real cool. I said, thank you, man. He said, all right. And then he takes off running. And not only was that really cool to hear, man, from a kid, you know, because usually as a parent, you hear that from other parents, you know, hey, you've done a great job raising your kid. I'm so glad that he's one of my sons or one of my daughter's friends, you know. So, you know, if you're doing your job, you usually hear that from parents. But to hear that from an actual kid, to say something like that is I don't know, I feel like it's more special because kids don't always do stuff like that, you know. A lot of kids are more reserved, and they don't necessarily compliment each other like that. So when he told me that, I was taken back, and I started thinking, am I raising the cool kid? Am I raising the cool kid at school? The kid that I used to always notice at school who just seemed to have it together? And I started thinking about everything that, you know, that he does and that his brother does. And, you know, Jaden, he has this thing for cologne. They both, you know, he's so much into cologne and stuff that he's got his brother into cologne now. He's always giving his brother advice with regards to cologne. Sorry, there's a truck going by right now. But he's always giving his brother advice and tips on what cologne to get. And they're both into their hair, you know, getting their hair done and cut and permed and making sure it looks good. I recently found out that they showered twice. It cracks me up because they showered before they went to bed, and then when they woke up, I'm like cooking my son eggs, and I go, hey, what are you doing in the bathroom? It's like, I'm showering. I go, you just showered last night. And he goes, yeah. And I'm showering in the morning. I'm like, wait a minute, so you shower before bed and then you wake up and then you shower again? He's like, yeah, to rinse. I'm like, I mean, listen, man, people always say stuff about kids and their hygiene and body odor as they become teenagers and whatnot. I guess these guys are more conscious about that than I used to be. So there's that. But then, you know, Jaden, you know, he likes to dress. They both like to dress, but I would say that Jaden is way more into like dressing and whatnot. Jordan is as well, but Jaden is like, that's one of his things. The other thing is both athletes, both very good at what they play, baseball. And Jaden's a hustler, man. Jaden's always the guy. He's the hookup. Um, he calls himself Prophet J. So he has learned how to hustle from me. He has learned to, take his money and flip it. So he'll buy merchandise at a discounted rate, and then and then he'll sell it. Or he has vendors that he goes through, and he'll put stuff up and be like, hey, I got this, this, and this. Let me know who's interested, and they'll pay him, and he gets it shipped, and then he provides it to them, and he makes money that way. But he'll get in the car and he'll be like, Dad, I made this much money today. And I always tell him, hey, be careful. These kids out here, man, there's certain kids out here that you can't trust. So I hope you're not pulling stuff out and showing people what you're doing. I said, Jaden, because it can go bad. He's like, no, I know you taught me, and I don't show anybody anything. I'm like, all right. So I'm like thinking of all these things as I'm telling you guys this. I'm thinking of all these things, and I'm like, man, my son, I might be raising the cool kid, which is crazy because, I've run into people now, and they tell me that I was cool in high school and whatnot, but I don't recall being that kid, because I knew who that kid was. That kid in middle school was a guy named Joey Pereira. Shout out to Joey if he ever watches this, man. That was a good buddy of mine. We played football together. But Joey just was cool, man. Joey, good-looking guy. He had the hottest chick in middle school. Her name was Terry Silva. And they were just like, shit, man. We call those power couples nowadays, but they were like the power couple in middle school. Sounds crazy to say that, right? But I'm 50, and I still remember the both of them. And I remember that they were like the it thing in my middle school. And then when I got to high school, the other guy at high school was Trevor Nedlin. Trevor Nedlin was the guy. He looked like a GQ model, tall, handsome. His face looked like it was chiseled. He played football. Just all the cheerleaders loved him. Just a handsome man. And he had probably the most gorgeous female at my school at the time, Denise Campuzano. And they were dating. And again, that was the couple. Everybody always said, man, them two, man, they look crazy together because, as a kid, you're like, man, they look perfect. But that was the cool guy at school. And obviously he had the girl. She was a cheerleader, but I'm sure she understood that probably every girl at our school, or damn near every girl at our school, desired her man. And it's just what it was. And I started thinking about all these things, and I'm like, man, I wonder if I'm raising the cool kid, because it sounds like it. And, because there are so many kids that walk by our car and say hi or bye, or when we're driving by, they yell his name. He's already had a little girlfriend. He tells me he doesn't really want a girlfriend right now. He's focused on making money and going to school and playing baseball. And I said, that's a good plan right there. And I said, you know why? Because when you chase girls, you never catch them. But when you chase your education, your career, making money, stacking money, saving, and you chase your sports and you focus on that, they'll come. Trust me, they will come. And so he understands that, which is very cool. And, and I think about Jordan as well. Jordan's. So I just told someone recently, I said, Jaden is who I am right now with regards to like my hustling and how I'm always doing what I do, like everything I'm doing with regards to social media and my podcast and everything that I do. Jaden is this version of me right now. Like he's He's helped me with social media. He's helped me with video editing. He's helped me with all that stuff, giving me tips. It's funny, man, but it's awesome, to tell you the truth. And then Jordan is me when I was in high school. And what I mean by that is, I tell my son, I said, you know, you're a very handsome boy, man. I said, and I'm not saying that because I'm your father. I know I'm supposed to say that because I'm your dad, but I'm telling you the truth. You're a good looking kid. I said, you know, you had your braces on early, so you got them off now, so your teeth look amazing, nice and white and straight. Got your hair cut the way you like it, little curls. Very handsome, man. You're in the gym all the time. You're working out. You're training for baseball all the time. You're doing so much more than I was doing in high school, man. I was never in the gym. And you're doing all that, and you're taking care of yourself, and you're very conscious of what it is you're trying to do. And I said, I'm so impressed by that, man. Your brother too, because Jaden's the same way. Jaden will call me and say, Dad, I want to go to the gym. And then he'll tell me, I want to work on this, I want to work on that. And he's like, he used to complain about going in the sauna. And now Jaden looks forward to going to the sauna, even though it gets hot. Like, we were in there yesterday, it was 180 degrees. But he does his 15 minutes because he knows. So I always tell you guys, lead by example, right? You know, I've already talked about that the other day. But my son sees what it's done for me. I share with them my journey. I share with them my weight loss. Every time I'm down a few more pounds, I always share it with my kids. And they're like blown away. They're like, damn, Dad, all of that? I said, all of that is because of everything that I do every day. And I share that with them to keep them encouraged, to show that, hey, if you stay the course, you will see the change. And Jaden knows all the work we did with Jordan when he lost all that weight, that Jaden can do the same thing. So back to Jordan. So, you know, Jordan's, you know, in the gym more than I ever was in high school. He's just, I don't know, man. It's great to watch him. But how is he like me? He's like me in the sense where he's very shy. He's reserved, not very outspoken. He just kind of does his thing, and he's a cool kid, right? He's one of those kids who seems to know everybody, but also only has a small circle of friends. And that's how I was. I knew everybody, the good guys, the bad guys, everything in between in school. I knew them all. But I didn't have like some huge circle of friends. And I wasn't very outgoing. It took me until my junior year to like kind of start becoming outgoing. You know, that's when I started to realize, you know, that girls actually liked me, and I actually had a chance with girls that I didn't think I had a chance with. And for a young man, that's kind of a big thing. Why? Well, because a lot of us growing up, we think that, you know, man, this girl ain't gonna like me, that girl ain't gonna like me, I'm not even gonna ask them out. And then when you hit that age where you're like, wow, girls are paying attention to me now, it's kind of eye-opening. Actually, it's not kind of, it's real eye-opening. So it took me till my junior year to actually experience that. So I'm watching Jordan, he's a sophomore now, and I'm seeing that with him right now. Like, not that part, but I'm seeing him being, you know, because I've asked him about girls, and he's like, I have friends, you know, we hang out, but, you know, I don't have a girlfriend. And I go, okay, well, any of your friends have a girlfriend? And he'll tell me, oh, this guy has one that goes to another school, this one has one, but they don't like hold hands and walk around school. I was like, oh, okay. I go, you know, you don't have to worry about getting one just because someone else has one, right? He's like, yeah, I know. I go, okay. I go, because take your time. I go, Jordan, you're a very handsome boy, man. And I'm telling you, someone in that friends group you have likes you. They're probably just really shy because they're just like you, and they're afraid to say something because they're afraid to be rejected. He's like, yeah, they joke around a bit. He goes, but I don't know, we're all friends. I go, you know, the joking usually means that they like you. They just don't know how to say it seriously, you know what I mean? He's like, yeah. He goes, well, there is one girl, he goes, that likes me, but I don't know, she's not really my type. And he's like, I don't know. I go, she pretty? He's like, she's all right. I go, let me tell you something. Be nice. Be nice. Okay? Because even if she's not your type, she had the guts to tell you that she liked you before any of these other girls that you may be attracted to like. All right? She had the guts to come out and tell you. And that takes a lot of courage. Be nice to her. And just make sure you're cool. And if she asks you and you're not interested, just tell her, hey, man, you know, I really appreciate it, but kind of got my eye on somebody and I'm hoping to have a chance, you know what I mean? I just don't know if that's going to happen, but, you know, you just got to respect that, all right? But be nice, because here's the thing that you need to remember. That girl who you may not be interested in at that moment, because of whatever reason, maybe she doesn't look like the type of girl you would date. Maybe she's not as pretty as you want. Maybe she's just built different than what you desire. They don't always stay that way. Sometimes you run into them years later and they look completely different. And then if you were mean, you're kicking yourself in the ass. And you don't want to do that. You don't want to kick yourself in the ass because you treated somebody mean who didn't deserve to be treated like that. So be nice, because that may come back around and you may have a change of heart. He's like, yeah, you're right, Dad. But I'm watching him and I just remember how reserved I was my freshman and sophomore year. I was trying to figure out how to fit in. I was making friends on the baseball and football team. And I was cool, but I was still like shy, reserved. I wasn't very outgoing. I wasn't doing any of that. And he's like that right now. So, I don't know, man. I just got to thinking, like, you know, because I'm not at school. Obviously, when you're a parent, you don't get to go to school and watch your kids interact with other kids. And I sometimes I wish there was a camera, like reality TV, and I can just watch my kids and see what their life is like. Because you don't know what they're like. You want to know what their life is like, but you don't know. You can't know because they're at school. They're at school literally 8 hours or whatever it is, Monday through Friday. And so let's just call it 40 hours. That's 40 hours of the week that you're not with them, that they are living an entire life that you have no idea what's going on besides what their grades are and what the teachers say. But outside of that, you have no idea. And I just got to wondering, am I raising the cool kids? Am I? Because it feels like it. And I don't know, man. I just wanted to share that with you guys. And like I said, I enjoy sharing these things that I'm experiencing as a father. You know, raising two boys, man, two teenagers. And hopefully you enjoy it. If you're a dad, maybe you can relate. And if you're a soon-to-be dad, man, get ready for some fun, because enjoy it, man, because it's funny, especially when they become teenagers, man. Especially when they become teenagers. It's fun. And if you are not a soon-to-be father, but you aspire to be one, God bless your journey, man. It's the greatest thing I've ever done, is become a father. So if you are one of those guys like I was, and you can't wait to become one, my prayers are with you, brother, because it's a wonderful thing. I love you guys, man. And like I always tell you, my life isn't perfect. Oftentimes it is a mess, but for me, it is the perfect mess. Peace.